Welcome to our third iteration of our Tyler and Todd podcast, Tea Time with Tyler and Todd. We're going to start with the Masters takeaways and results. Obviously, John Rahm, the winner. I picked two in a row. I might end this coming week for the RBC. You're probably going to take over. How do you think overall John Rahm played? I know you picked Brooks Koepka. How about you do Brooks and I'll talk about John.
Well, I thought Brooksy had it rolling for a little bit. There was weather does come into play a little bit, and, he even said pace of play. It does all matter when you're out there, especially when you're in a tournament, you get into a groove or, play was stopped. I think probably play stopping on Saturday probably did hurt Brooks. Because then once Rahm came back out, there was a two-shot swing just like that. So you had Rahm making that birdie, Brooks missing that par putt, and then right there. So it's one of those things. I thought Brooks played well. It just... you make the putts in the beginning of the tournament, and he didn't make the same putts at the end of the tournament. But he really did play consistent. But Rahm, again, that's why he is the number one player in the world. I mean, it was very Tiger-esque at points where he's just going to let you make the mistake, and he's going to keep finding a fairway. He's going to keep finding a green, and he'll make that putt when he needs to. So, again, remarkable by him, and Brooksy's got nothing. But, that's what happens when you play 54 holes on the LIV Tour. It's the prep. I think the PGA prep is, there's no fake in it. 72 holes, same every week.
Yeah, I agree. Hats off to Brooks. It's really hard to lead a full three rounds at Augusta. Round 4 kind of did slip away, as you know. It started with the poor tee shot of 1. He did get kind of lucky there. He had some good shots on 4 and 6. He did end up with terrible positions, which made his up and down rather difficult. He flew the green on number 6, and had a good pitch shot that kind of skid. Then I think that I saw a momentum change happen at usually around holes 8 and 9. He had a poor tee shot on 8, had that bad break on number 9. Then just the dreaded par 3, number 12. I mean, he walks up there, he looks at John, who took a 9-iron. He plays a half a club further than John Rahm. So he takes a pitching wedge and he flies the green, he bogeys that hole. And I think that just changed the momentum. After that, he had to play really aggressive on 13 and 14 to try to catch up. But I think, again, hats off. He led a full 3 rounds, which is remarkable. It's
hard to go wire to wire.
It's really, really difficult, especially at Augusta. So, again, hats off to him. John Rahm, who I love him. I'm a fan. I know leading segue up to I picked him for the RBC. I think he's just a remarkable putter, and I think kind of to empathize with his game and my game, I'm a scrambler, and I hit my drives, and they go left and right of the fairway, but I can always get back to the fairway and get up and down and save par, and he's just incredible at it. He's I think, in my opinion, the best on the tour at it. And when he starts to actually hit fairways, his game becomes very easy, and it looks like he's just playing easy golf.
The crazy thing is, his worst mistake was on the first hole of the tournament.
The double bogey.
That's it. Better to make it then than later. Also, too, I think we highlight the par 5s played huge role again.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, we kind of called that out where if you can convert your par 5s, you're going to be right there. And sure enough, if I'm not mistaken, Brooks birdied 8, but he didn't birdie 2, 13, or 15 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, that amen corner, I feel like you look back on Jordan Spieth, you look back on Tiger when he won his back in 2019 when Molinari hit it in the water. That whole span of the long par 4 on 11, the par 3, and then, of course, the lengthened par 13. I've never seen more layups in my life, too, on 13.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many guys. And, again, I know conditions were not perfect at all. It was cold. It was a little bit windy. But that hole did play different. But if I'm not mistaken, if I saw on one of the CBS broadcasts, it was actually playing easier than last year. So that's why, distance, people can say distance. It's all about how you play the hole, the course, and when you play to your strength. I mean, all those guys have phenomenal wedge game, hence they're on the PGA Tour, but going forward in 2 doesn't always make sense. They laid up to their position, they hit a little knockdown wedge, and they converted the putt.
And I think that's why that experience leads a huge factor into Augusta. I mean, that you have people that have played there that know how to play. That's why the average age is 30 for 31 for the first winner.
Like Phil.
Kind of on the like Phil. On the other side of that coin, you have people that haven't played the course ever, like Sam Bennett, our amateur. I mean, he wasn't even projected to be the top amateur in the tournament, let alone he didn't bogey the whole first day. What are your thoughts on Sam? I mean, how he played?
That was incredible. I mean, I just, tuning into the broadcast, they highlight the guys that are, climbing up the leaderboard, and you're just thinking, okay, is he going to have a good tee shot? Right down the middle. His swing looks so consistent Thursday and Friday, and I'm going to give him a break too. I think probably the rain delay and the nerves and everything probably threw him off. He was thinking, okay, Saturday, it's 45, 50 degrees down there. The wind, the rain, it was pretty miserable just to watch on TV. But, I mean, for a early 20-year-old kid playing in your first Masters, I mean, it is kind of a bummer that, and you could say this about Brooks, John, I think the scores could have been a little bit lower, but again, that 12 under number was like about right on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that right on. I mean, his post presser, he was like, I honestly wasn't even that nervous until the delay it started to happen, and then I got a little bit nervous. And
it's just a lot of time to think. I mean, it's not even that
overthinking too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I would say 90% of those guys, when they have the nerves, they just want to get out there and play. I mean, there's nothing like waiting around and different stuff like that. Again, you get weird thoughts in your head, but
I think it really helped his comfort level with having his coach at Texas A&M on the bag.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Having him on the caddy, they know each other so well. I mean, he's a fifth year senior. Go Aggies. So yeah, I think that fared him pretty well. I think also too, I saw him when he was winning or playing in the Amateur Open, and I thought I just looked at him the wrong way, but maybe he just came off a little cocky. But during his post-game presser, man, I have so much respect for the kid, man. I heard about his father's story and the tattoo on his arm, and on top of that, I didn't know if you know about this. He's never had any swing coaches. He's had one swing lesson in his whole life, and that was at 7 years old.
Really?
And he goes, I'm probably not. Everyone's telling me the swing's not going to last. My back's not going to last. But
yeah.
And they asked him, "Are you going to get a swing coach after this?" And he goes, "Probably not. Probably not." So
yeah, it's one of those things. And again, you said injury, and there's two people that come to my mind. Obviously, Tiger Woods. Second, Will Zalatoris out for the year. And it's one of those things. I mean, again, when we dive into segments, again, we talk about every week. You guys are more than happy. Once it's getting nicer out, you can send us your film and everything that way. But once that spine starts tilting back, and I don't want to say they're hanging back, but you can only do it for so long. And there is no right way to swing, but there is somewhat of a longevity standpoint that you kind of got to be careful. Your body can move in all different ways when you're young. But, I mean, even at our age, I mean, that 27 to 30, even 35, you start to feel a little bit. And then it's kind of like, do you get help? Even Rory talked about how important it was for him to actually seek a strength and conditioning coach to make sure that he's able to play golf for a long time. Yeah. There's a one point of, I'm going to play great golf for 8 years, or I am going to do this for a living. I'm going to go and play on the Champions Tour, and I'm going to have a 30-year career.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, speaking of old guys, old-timers, Phil, how do you think surprising.
He had the same strokes gained as Tiger Woods did when he won. He did everything that Tiger Woods did except win. And again, it was probably just because of John Rahm playing phenomenal, but when you if they followed Phil for every hole and you watched it, Phil had all the makings to win that tournament, which is crazy because no one gave him a shot. I said probably make cut, maybe around even. Again, that guy can flip a switch. Yeah. That's what makes him so special.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching the old replay of him coming into 18 and how he won, and I was just like, I wonder if he's going to do the same approach shots and everything. I mean, I know it's a little bit longer, but
honestly, that birdie on 18 was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
he knew it right when he's like, "Hey, if something goes wrong, I'm here."
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So let's get into our results of last week. So we'll show it again in the lower hand corner of the screen for you guys. I think just me picking the winner just put me a little bit above you. It was we picked very similar of scores, not too much difference, but that four kind of just separated us a little bit, and then that stack up with Patrick Cantley, and I think you took you took Joaquin. I honestly jumped on the Joaquin train this weekend and took him in a lot of different things. But Victor Hovland, he played really well. Didn't play as good as the fourth day as he did the first three. Kind of similar to how Brooks kind of fell off.
And Jason Day was there too.
Now
that I'm looking,
the first 2 days, man, Jason Day played.
He played awesome.
He played great.
I just knew he was kind of peaking a little bit. I think the one that has to surprise everyone, as well as the injury, everything else, is Rory. But that goes back to putting so much pressure on yourself.
Mental.
Yeah.
It's mental pressure.
It has nothing to do with his physical game. He has. If I told Rory McIlroy, all you got to do is shoot 3 under at Augusta for 4 days, there's no doubt he does that. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what probably would have won him it.
Yeah.
But it's just so different when you're out there, you're picked to win. I mean, Gary Player, he said, who do you have? Oh, Rory McIlroy. I mean, he's got the best swing on tour. He's powerful. He's been there. He's won majors. It just, I don't know if it's the course that doesn't set up. If it's the pressure putting on himself. But
what was he? What was he after round one? Because he wasn't that bad. He was like even, maybe even -1, maybe +1.
Yeah,
around
but
there.
I want to say he finished at 4.
He saw that -7, and that just mentally, if you were to tell him at the beginning of the tournament, hey, you just got to finish -3 each day, versus him seeing a -7 on the scoreboard first day, he's like, I got to do a lot more. No, you don't. You got to just do a little bit each day.
Yeah,
it'll get you there.
Yeah.
So,
and again, we talked about the par fives. He did not make the birdies that Rory McIlroy makes.
Yep. Yeah, at all. So jumping into the tournament this weekend. So we have the RBC Heritage, hosted at Harbour Town Golf Links, April 13th, April 16th, obviously Thursday through Sunday because it's a 4-day event, unlike the Live Golf Tournament, which we went into before, which was 3 days. So kind of just history and overview, kind of factoids about the RBC. What are your highlights? What is one that sticks out to you that you kind of like?
Well, the first one that we talked about when we were going over this is where the career of Nick Faldo began. This is where he first won his first tournament. I think a couple other ones that were really cool when we were looking back in the set.
A lot of easy. I think this course is really good for putts. We have George Archer. He set the PGA Tour record with the fewest putts in a 72-hole tournament at 94, which is insane. That's 1.3 putts. 1.3 putts per hole.
He almost could have 3-putted.
He almost could have 3-putted. And I think one of my favorite ones, the Jim Furyk and Brian Davis. Brian Davis, they were playing on a playoff hole. He hit it left, and usually on 18, if the tide is up, you can't play off the sand. Mm-hmm. Tide was down. He could play off the sand. He took a shot from the sand, but you can't touch anything that's immovable on your backswing, and he did, and it cost him the whole match. Jim Furyk ended up winning, but he called himself out on it, which was, I mean,
just classic.
I mean, you take someone who struggles to get up and down, but he had a good shot on the green. Right when he hit, he goes, "Hey, can you check the cameras? I think I hit that. What do you call it? Not twig, but
kind of like a loose impediment
leaf, straw, or whatever."
The fact that he was even thinking about that in that,
he goes, "I think I felt something," and then they had reviewed it on the cameras, and he hit it, so it's an automatic 2-stroke penalty, and he seceded to Jim Furyk that year. But just a class act. I think that's one of the things that sticks out. I mean, again, it's probably don't have the positive highlights in my realm, but I think that is a positive takeaway, is that you're out with your buddies, you still be a match, still be a player. If you're playing for money, you don't want to cheat. It's everyone's playing for money, everyone's playing for the tournament title, and per his words, he sleeps better at night, and that was the best thing he's ever done.
Win it the right way. And the other cool one we had was in 2007 when Boo Weekley, he chips in on the last 2 holes and gets his first ever PGA Tour.
It's insane.
I mean, come on. You chip in once in a round, that's pretty special, let alone back-to-back, and you're in the hunt. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
I remember chipping in on a scramble, a 2-person scramble to win it, and I was just like...
That's hype.
Can you even imagine just on a PGA Tour, the last 2 holes doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane.
And then you can't 3-putt.
Exactly. That's why I have the 2 hour.
So we got a 7,100-yard course.
Yep.
So not that long. Again, probably going to be like that Farmer Fairway. Really completely different golf course than
Augusta.
I mean, you have the ocean kind of right there. You have, I would say, a lot more. I don't want to say. I mean, there's bunkers everywhere, but it's such a different type of course where I feel like Augusta, you're in this place, tree line, and now this place is kind of like wide open, but there is trouble.
It's hazardous. It's very hazardous.
Yes.
It's very narrow fairways. I think that, like the greens too, they're 37 on average.
And the wind always blows there.
Yep.
The wind comes right off the water, and that ball's going to either get knocked down or fly. So, again, a lot more open from the amount of tree line because Augusta is so tree lined. Now you're just kind of right out in your neighborhood course.
Since it's so narrow and the greens are rather small compared to Augusta.
Oh yeah.
What do you think the biggest challenge for players at
I think it goes to I don't think like the roughest. It's just you got to know where to miss it off the tee, but it's going to be second shot. So again, at Augusta, yes, you have to be a good iron player to get it in the right spots. Now, this week, you have to just put the irons on the green. So, greens become a premium.
Yeah.
Obviously, smaller, there's not going to be as much undulation. It really is kind of a whole new course. That's where I see, like in this week, just looking at a couple of the guys, that we pick every week, I do think you're not going to see your notable names that you see at the Masters. I mean, that was one of the best leaderboards I could remember. I mean, you had Spieth up there for 1 second. You had Rahm. You had Brooks. You had Victor. I mean,
Scheffler.
Every guy is Scheffler.
Victor.
Every guy that, like, if you're a golf fan, you pay attention to, they were right there. Now, this week, I think you're going to get a little mix of everything. I think also the fatigue of some guys are going to come into play. I mean, they've been playing a lot. You hear about so much prep for majors. Well, here's the major. Here's the week after. Look at how strong the field is.
Yeah.
But they're human too. They got a lot going on in their life, family, travel, and then just the physical toll. I mean, just walk 18 holes. I usually do take a cart, but I'll tell you what, like if I have to play like 36 and walk in a day, I do feel it the next day. I mean, I'm 26, I'm in pretty good shape, but it's one of those things. Until you have the stress, until you walk and all that, that's why people say it would be truly interesting to see Tiger Woods take a cart, and I want to see how good he plays.
Yeah.
I want to see you take the physical toll. How good are those guys?
Yeah. His plantar fasciitis, he doesn't have to walk. I mean, he could just ride in the cart. He doesn't ever flare it up. And
yeah.
Walking 72 holes, it's...
Yeah. Yeah. For him,
Talk
he
about
can.
Sam Bennett, too, after playing 72, goes and jumps in a 36-hole tournament, and he walks his own bag. Caddies for himself in the Augie Open.
Yeah, I think he withdrew from that.
Did he really?
Yeah. There's no way in heck I was going to play him out. My mind would be in different places.
Yeah. So, I think the biggest thing that's really gonna, for me, is the challenge is gonna be really getting that drive off the tee. And when I say drive, I don't necessarily mean driver. This course really takes the driver out of a lot of players' hands with how narrow it is. But I think it's just placing your tee shot into a fairway that gives you a good shot and a good angle to the green.
Yeah,
there's a lot of overhanging trees.
Exactly. 7,100. There's 3 par 5s, so not that long. There isn't a par 4 that'll stretch over 500, I don't think.
Over half the holes, even if you hit in the fairway, you still might have an overhanging branch that will get in your way.
That's where it's like you better favor left side, right side.
Exactly. If you're thinking on the tee shot, now you're thinking, well, it's a narrow fairway, but now I have to hit the right side of the narrow fairway, which makes again, just playing into this mentally, who can best put their mental game into a place where I'm going to hit this spot. And I was watching this podcast, and the pro golfer was talking about really the football field goal that he looks at, right? So when he's picturing, he has who can make their football field goal post narrow, but also so it doesn't throw them off. So
you can't. Yeah, there's a point to an aim spot, and then being a little bit more realistic on it and not. But yeah, I think even just like a field goal post is good. If you want to start a cutout, you go left to right.
Yep.
On the post.
Same
thing with the draw going the opposite way. But once you almost start seeing too much creativity, that's when you might lose sight.
Yeah. So who has some good iron play? What players do you think really suit the course?
Well, when I think iron play, I think Colin Morikawa. I think he is solid. I think, just looking at the list and who's playing, I do love John Rahm. I just didn't think the Masters was going to suit him. I mean, I am completely wrong on that one, but I think he's going to have a little hangover this week. I mean, it's only kind of it's so hard to be that hungry. Like when you get like a major or something like that, I mean, that's the whole life you've worked for.
That's one thing that we might disagree on is I'm a John Rahm fan and I think he's going to be
like people say momentum. Could it carry over for sure? I think Scotty's scary good. How he's always there every week. I do like Gary Woodland too. He can play that little low stinger. So again, fairway finder. He's comfortable. Good win player. I think he could be like a long shot to watch out for. Again, I think Sam Burns has played well all year. I think, again, after that match play, that gave him some confidence. He had a pretty good Masters. I don't think he's too burned out. I do think Jordan, though. I do think he's going to be feeling it this week.
Jordan Spieth?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be feeling mental fatigue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think he's going to be really... I mean, he's 9th start out of 11 weeks. Added pressure of being the defending champion. He played really good his last round at the Masters, but I think that just as far as the mental added fatigue of, again, playing so many weeks out of 11 that in trying to defend his title, I think that it'll catch up with him this week.
Yeah.
I think he might make the cut, but I don't think he's going to be in top 25.
Yeah. I do agree. And then there's different guys like Justin Thomas and Max Homa who everyone probably thought that they were going to have a better Masters. Watch them come out and have a really good tournament where you're not hearing a lot of guys talk about them. But again, top tier elite players. And again, just a different style of golf.
Max Homa, man. Positive vibes only.
Yeah.
Positive vibes only. I love that guy's demeanor, man. I mean... he was so receptive for the Masters, for him taking the time to put audio in his ear, give the fans a real time action of him, his mindset in live. Him and Ricky, him and Rory did that, which is awesome. I think it actually got a little bit in Rory's head after the presser, you could tell, but I think that Max Homa, he's a fan of the people.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
So. All right, into that. So let's head into the weather. What is the weather going to be like?
Weather, trust me, it's not going to be like the Masters. That was brutal for a bit.
Yeah.
But you're going to have about mid-70s the whole weekend, and you might some groupings, depending if you're afternoon or morning, might see a little bit of rain, but I don't think anything's going to stop play or anything that way.
Good, yeah. Thursday is supposed to be nice. Friday's just a little bit rainy, as you said. Saturday and Sunday, I don't think they have the chance of rain.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be a Sunday finish unless anything drastic happens with the weather. I think it changes. Let's go into our picks for the week. I think that's a good segue here. So we took the same. I'll name the people that we took the same, and if you want to give who you took differently, and kind of give reasoning why. So we both took Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa. We were both heavy on. I honestly think he's gonna win it. Sam Burns and Gary Woodland. So we took 5 of the same players without even looking at each other's. Who else did you take other than those 5?
All right. So my 5 other guys are going to be Cameron Young. Again, played very well. I think he's trending in the right direction. Again, Matt Kuchar, another comfortable course for him. Again, he might not win it, but I do think he knows where to place the ball, and
his putting stroke is I love it.
It's like the same. It's the same every week. So I like the consistency of Kuchar. I think Sahith Theegala. I mean, he had a very nice Masters. Again, young player, really headed in the right direction. Webb Simpson
Did you
passed.
see that chip shot on 16 for Theegala?
Yeah, the one guy said do it for Tiger, and he knocked it in. That was almost exactly, without the ball stopping on the edge, that was almost the exact same shot.
So hard to place that shot.
Oh, yeah.
Drops all the way down.
Yeah.
You have to hit it all the way up.
And you have to hit it up, and you can't hit it too high.
When I saw Cantley hit that putt, and it was not even close to mid as half as where Theegala took that chip, I'm like, that's not even be close. It wasn't.
And how we talked about the two different undulations, I feel like you got to have such an imagination to play at Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, it's kind of like, golf's in front of you. I mean, Augusta, there's so many things you can do and so much trouble, and you got to place it. This is just kind of like go out and play golf.
Yeah.
And then my other two, if we missed it, were Webb Simpson, a past champion, and Chris Kirk, who has just slowly had a steady year with a win.
Yeah. So John Rahm, I took him. You're not a fan of taking him? I don't know why. I love John Rahm, man. He's just Tony Finau. I think that he's been very consistent, especially at the final round at Augusta. He's been really consistent this year. I'm a fan of Sungjae Im. He quietly placed 16th at the Masters. He just has elite accuracy off the tee, and I think that's really what you need for this tournament. Is just
Great
elite
short
accuracy
game
off the tee, and also he boasts really high end finishes. Really with the other courses that play similar to this course, he's boasted high end finishes in his career at those courses. So he plays these courses again with that elite accuracy off the tee, and those mid to long irons, or sorry, short to mid irons. That's where he's elite at. Victor, I'm a fan of Victor. That's a heart pick. That's a very very greedy heart pick. Max Homa, positive vibes only. He's a fan of the people. Love it. Love Max Homa. Love the iron game. He's sixth ranked in the world right now. He didn't play that so much at the Masters. Maybe the first, second day. Third and fourth day he kind of dropped down a little bit, but if he can string together 72 holes, he can definitely contend. So those are my pick. My surprising not taking is Jordan Spieth again, as we talked about with that mental fatigue earlier. Ninth at 11 weeks he's been playing, and again with that added pressure of defending, I don't think he's going to do too well.
And here's the thing about Jordan: I don't think he is still quite comfortable with his swing. It's not like, it's different when you're going out playing with your buddies and you're shooting around even. It's like, oh, this is fun. But it's like, okay, when you could go out and shoot 80, 90, and it's just like, I mean, I know that's not for Jordan, but I don't think he's quite comfortable with the putter, the driver. There's still a little hesitancy there. And again, I think it's going to be, I think he'll win this year. I don't know when, but I think he will win. And I don't know if it's going to be a major, but it's just like, I thought he was going to have the Valspar, and it's just like that one tee shot, and then, just the recovery and different stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a lot. And sometimes the worst thing you can do when you're trying to figure things out is just beat yourself up and keep playing and keep playing.
Oh. Good. Anything else that we want to talk about with RBC Heritage, or anything else from the Masters that we want to talk about leading into this weekend?
I would just say the other key point, and just like a big topic that it always is with golf, is do you see Tiger Woods playing in another tournament this year? Yes or no? And I want you guys to comment on that.
That's a good one. You know what? I do. I think if he can work out the plantar fasciitis, I think that's a lot less concerning than his back.
But it's the whole leg. That's the thing.
I think, I think he can, as long as he stays away from re-injuring his back.
Sure.
I think he can contend. I don't even know what pain meds they allow you in tour, but I feel like he can take something to get that inflammation down versus a back that it's rod
and that's your whole center of
back replacement.
Mass.
So I think he'll give it another shot, maybe at a major this year.
I think he's only going to play majors. And that's the hard thing.
So do you think? Here's my question. Here's my rebuttal question. Do you think we'll see him back at the British Open by the time of the British Open comes around, end of the year?
Well, yeah, that is the last one. Here's my thing. I don't think he plays in the PGA. I think this is going to take him out solid month. I think he plays U.S. Open, and then just depends how he does there. He might call it good for the rest of the year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So we both probably say one. I'd say one or two majors.
I think
you say one.
you'll see him one time this year, depending on how he is and how his body is. We'll go from there.
Yeah. And tell us your thoughts too. Comment in the comment section.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about Tiger Woods? How many more times will they play this year, if any? In what events do you think they're playing?
Yep. And as we always say, you can send us your swing, anything like that. Comment, subscribe, like.
Absolutely.
You got anything else?
Always, go under, stay under.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
See you guys.